Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well today, it feels like it's the old story, the old joke about buses. You wait for a bus, nothing comes along, and then loads of them will come along at the same time. This time it's not buses but Pumas. So we've got the Sd.Kfz.234.2 Puma from Ryefield Model, 35th scale, kit number 5110. Plus, we've got the upgrade solution weighted wheels set, which is going to be very interesting to look at. Now this is the version that comes with engine parts. I don't think it's complete full interior, it's just got engine parts. But we also have, as if that wasn't enough, we've also got the mini art version with full interior, engine, just about everything in it. So what I think I'm going to do, two separate, I think I'll do this as two separate reviews in the normal way because it makes it easier for people to find. And then I will do a short review where I actually do a comparison, which I think will be very popular. And certainly be of interest for those of you trying to decide which way to go with these. Now of course, so many of us, me included, have had the Puma in their Matchbox collection. I mean, I've got the built Puma, obviously you've seen it. Lovely little kit, to be honest. So this is taking things to a different level. So I'm going to move the mini art one out for now. I'm going to look at the Ryefield first. Actually, mini art has been out for a week or two in the UK anyway, but the Ryefield's only just arrived, been a bit delayed. I think it was shipping problems again, usual thing, you know, getting in from the Far East. So let's have a look at what we got. I think we will look at the weighted wheels later because we'll see what the standard kit is first. So I'll zoom you in and we'll get cracking, why not? Now then, really some rather nice artwork, I'm sure you'll agree. It's actually got a muzzle cover on it, like a weather cover, dust cover on the end of the barrel there and the muzzle. Says here, oh, there's a shot on the side you need to see, where you get to see an idea of what you're getting for your money here. So as I say, it's not a full interior as such, but there is quite a lot of interior detail, it's not far off. I don't think there's a lot of detail inside the turret, but we shall see. You can see there's a fair bit of detail, not just the engine bay, but also in the front area as well. So it's got, because these are steer at the front and the rear, of course. So they had rear and front steering to make them manoeuvre in very short, small spaces. So they can turn like a London taxi, better in fact. And then over on this side, more info. As you can see here how it's got the breakdown of all the ancillary parts on the outside, aerials which look like the photo etch, and then this remarkable front and rear wheel steering. You see the effect right there, can't you? The way it's got this double steering system, and it needs a man at the back and a man at the front to steer it. So let's have a look anyway. Zoom you back out a bit, and must admit I've been looking forward to this for quite a while actually. Certainly a kit that I'm quite interested in myself. Now this has been loaned to us by a good friend of the channel, Stuart, so thank you very much, Stuart, for letting us have a look at this. He's also said I can open the bags. I'm going to stand somewhere. So let us have a look. Hopefully the bags are, they're resealable bags. Oh perfect, so that makes life very easy for everybody. Good for Stuart, good for us. Right, now then, there's quite a lot of bags and sprues, I must say. There is indeed. I'm very interested to see how they do compare actually between this and the mini art. I suspect mini art is going to have a lot more parts because that is their way, isn't it? Right, let's have a look at this. So, how do you get in here? Yeah, it's just strange they turned up pretty much at the same time. That's the way it goes sometimes. It's one of these where there's the Michael Wittmann, Ryefield doing the Michael Wittmann Phillips-Bacage Tiger, and Tacom have got one coming out in a week or two as well, so similar situation. Let's hope they don't all start falling out about it like we have with Great Wall Hobby and Tacom, I think it was, wasn't it, a couple of years ago. Anyway, less said about that the better. So we've got some very nice, we'll get into the detail in a minute, but some very nice 3D printed resin parts. There's a bit of everything here. Some photo etch. Let's have a look at our instructions first though. I'll try and keep this fairly brief because I say we've got two of them to get through basically. So there's no history about the vehicle. Now this is where I get a little bit irritated, as you know. I really do think that people like Ryefield are very, very good, a bit like Great Wall Hobby and others, particularly good at some of the moulding, but they're not particularly good at all at any kind of information. So a youngster, you know, if a youngster sees this in a model shop, for example, what is it, what did it, I don't know anything about it, doesn't tell me anything about it, it's quite silly, isn't it, really? I don't know whether Mini Art do, we'll see later. That's it, rant over. But they could do it, couldn't they? I mean, you know, you see ICM are able to do this, it's only a couple of paragraphs, it doesn't require much work. All they need to do is just look up the history and get an English speaker to actually translate it. Anyway. What have we got here? Clear the red area away so this part can be movable. Aha, okay, so this is so you can have the drive shafts moving. That looks very interesting. That does look interesting, doesn't it? So you've got your multiple drive shafts, and of course they've got constant velocity joints. So it's a little bit like a racing car suspension system, isn't it, really? You've got leaf springs, though, definitely not like a racing car. Leaf springs doing a lot of the damping for the suspension, which is obviously very old school. And then you've got, looks like the brake lines included. That's very good. Have we got some, did we have some, I don't know if they've included any hoses or something. We'll get to that later. So you're going to build up your basic hull. Certainly more here than in the Matchbox kit, obviously, or the Revell as it is now. You've got anti-roll bars and you've got track rods there for the steering arms, and then you've got, there's quite a lot of parts in this actually. I'm already surprised because I thought that was going to be the Mini Art version, going to have lots of parts, but we'll see. There is quite a lot of parts here, quite a lot of small parts, towing hooks and all sorts of things. Then you've got your pedal box going in here for the driver at the front, and then there's the same thing for the driver at the back. Two pedal boxes, one front, one rear. As you can see, it's kind of replicated again down here. So it's like push you pull me. I hope they communicate well, the two pilots for this, two drivers. And then you've got, there's the rear steering mechanism going in with the rear steering wheel. Makes it very curious. And then we've got our engine, which is it's a V12, isn't it? I think I might say. I think it's a V12. I think it's a Maybach engine, if memory serves me. Again, we're not told anything. This is the thing I grumble about with a lot of the manufacturers. Nor are we given any indication here about what we're actually assembling. It's not, you know, the parts of the engine are not detailed with any clarity to tell you what you're actually putting together here. So, you know, clearly we've got things like sumps and alternators, starter motor there I think, and the bell crank housing for the transmission here, but they don't tell you that. Also got at the other end we've got the twin cooling fans and the drive fans and the cam belt all going in there, and then there's looks like a fuel tank, yes, fuel tank. Fuel tank's going either side of the engine. Oh, that's great. What could possibly go wrong there? And then we've got, now this is with the standard wheels, obviously we've got a polycap, they call it polycap, they mean rubber tyre, that's what they mean. It's rather strange, isn't it? Polycap? What are you on about? Silly. It's a rubber tyre. It's like a word they've picked up thinking it means rubber, I think. Anyway, then you've got your spare on the back, so that's the spare one obviously. Then you're going to build up these the little flaps, the viewing flaps that are all around the hull. There's quite a few of these actually, front and sides. So there's quite a few of those. You can have them open or closed, which is nice. There's a lot of detail, isn't there, to these viewing points, like slits basically. And then you've got your cooling grills that are going over the engine at the back, and again you can have those open if you wish. You've got to bring your top deck down onto the hull on top of the engine. I mean, this is a full interior, isn't it? So this is quite good value, and this is retailing at about, please forgive me, my memory's just gone, £45 I think, 45, 48 pounds, something like that. That seems a lot of kit for your money actually. Then you've got all your armour skirts going on, which have all the toolboxes built into the side, and you've got your petrol jerry cans going on the side there. Toolboxes complete with the tools themselves coming in here, spare jerry cans, spare everything, spare tools, the lights, the towing arms and the bumper at the front, bumper bar. More toolboxes, more stowage boxes. You've got the jack, I think that is here. That's to jack it up. You've got your rear exhaust system going on there, and then we've got all these final parts that are toolboxes and things, and ammo boxes are going on the side. Then we get to the turret. I quite like the way they have this partly photographic nature in the instructions. I do like that. It makes for clarity, and it shows you how to angle your hatches if you want them open. So you're building up the hatches there, complete with the viewing periscopes. Then we've got smoke discharges here, and you're going to build up the mantlet and basically the base of the gun before you put the barrel on here, mounting that into the mantlet there, and then you've got your gun, which was, from memory, was it 76mm on these? 35mm, again I can't remember. 35mm I think. And that goes in there complete with its sort of protective shroud. And then you've got all your little towing hooks and eyes and things that are going around. You've got your hatch handles for your hatches, front escape hatch. Put your aerials on, and finally now it's got polycap. See, you can see I'm not kidding you though. It says polycap here, and it's correct. Polycap here, it's not correct. They're just using it as a generic word for anything that's rubber. How bizarre. Okay, anyway, you put your wheels and tyres on, and then your Puma is completed. So there's actually quite a lot in that. I mean, that's a full interior as far as I can see. I don't think there's a lot of gearbox detail, but it's more than enough. I don't think you need it any more than that. Anyway, you got training unit in 1944. You've got Normandy in the summer of 44, which is interestingly got the same markings as the Matchbox one, the quadruple one number on the side. Then you've got another Normandy one here, summer of 44, and another one again, 111. Just triple ones this time. Normandy again. So there we go. So good, instructions are good, but could have been a lot better had they just bothered to put some history on, and if they bothered to name some of the parts and the components of the machine, really, which would have been nice. But let's have a check out what we got here. And as I say, because they've gone for resealable bags, that should keep life fairly straightforward for us, even though it's not my property, this one. So I've got an addendum, by the way, here, some extra instructions. Okay. So it looks like it's for some of these parts, of the ancillary parts, like fuel, oil tank, fuel tank, complete the fuel pump, the vacuum pump on it. Interesting. Quite nice looking extras, these, aren't they? And then you've got your jerry cans, complete the handles. They look really well detailed. It's not lacking in detail, this, is it? So let us start with this resin. I'll tell you what we'll do the resin, and then I'm going to look at those extra weighted wheels just as a comparison. I think that'll be very interesting for you viewers to see. Now then, here we go. So this is our muzzle brake with and without the dust cover shroud on it. So you've got a dust cover shroud at the bottom, and we've got it without it at the top. Let's just see. I'm not doing very well with this one. Let's just see if I can get a slightly better angle for you. There we go. 3D printed, of course, and yes, very detailed indeed, actually. That's very nice. And I think the dust cover shroud, perhaps even more so. Can you see that? It's like a tarpaulin fabric type shroud to keep all the crud out at the end of the barrel, really. I've done that really well. So those are very nice. Nothing wrong with that. So that's a nice little quality bit of 3D resin printing. We'll pop that back in its pop that back in there. Some polycaps. Yes, there really are polycaps this time. Nothing to get excited about there really, so we'll leave them. Then we've got a bit of aerial. Maybe this out actually. Let's just zoom in a bit more. Very fine bit of. Looks like it's brass actually, doesn't it? There we go. There we are. Aerial. Then we've got our photo etch parts. There we go. Now then, and this is a lot of this is the aerials, and let's take it out of the bag as it is resealable. We don't have to mess up any bags to look at these items, do we? Which would be a relief for Stuart. Oh. Now then, we'll just get the photo etch to release from its bag. It's been a little bit awkward. Come on, you can do it. There we go. That's a boy. Right. So now we can see in a bit more detail the photo etch parts. Aerials, the one that's like a big star. Various little handles for some of those compartments. Little tow hooks. I think that's part of the smoke dispensers. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Then we've got our decals. Mainly just identification marks, a couple of German crosses, some instruments though, which is quite good. Instrumentation there, number plates obviously, and just as I say, mainly ID numbers for the rest of it. But they look very nice. In fairness, Ryefield models are pretty decent normally, you know, for a Chinese manufacturer. I think their decals are pretty decent quality. So I'm going to pop those back in there, if you just bear with me 1 second. We need to just get that protected, make sure it's the right way around. We'll get our... It's nice that they put a piece of card in actually, it's quite helpful, isn't it, really? But we'll do it that way around so that they're on opposite sides. Okay, it says. Quite as easy as you think it's going to be. Right, that's done. Now then, into the nitty gritty. So I'm going to start with this very nice sprue. I've always said about Ryefield, I think that some of their armour kits are some of the best in my opinion. They always have this very beautiful finesse in the way they mould the parts. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of stuttering with my camera here. A bit jerky. So this is the tools sprue. And you can see straight away here we've got the jack, and then we've got like a hatchets, axe, wire cutters, 2 different spades, and these are just gorgeous. I'm not sure how it's come across on the camera because it's a bit bright, but so I might just reduce the brightness a little bit. There we go. It might just help us slightly. There we go. But the way these are formed is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they really are super detailed, very crisp to look at to the naked eye. Parts of the jack again at the bottom there, and the headlights, the little slit lights, very nice indeed. So that's a nice sprue. First one there. Now we're going to look at these tyres, and then I say we're going to jump across and have a quick look at the extra ones that we've got. So these are the rubber tyres. Now I have to say to you that they are pretty good. I'm just going to put my magnifiers on because there's some writing on these. I want to see what it is. It's got extra Geland Vesa. I presume that's... Oh, it's better on this side. Let's see if you can see that actually. With the camera, can you see that? At the top it says Vesa with a W, Wesa. And then it says Extra Gelanda. See that? That is a nice tyre. In fairness, they're beautiful rubber tyres though, actually, but they're not weighted, and I think this is the thing. I certainly wouldn't say to you that you necessarily, having seen those, that you necessarily need the weighted wheels, but they'll just perhaps add effect, because the fact that they've got them engraved with this lettering on it, it's really nice. That's excellent. So that's going to be interesting now to see how they compare. So if you bear with me 1 second, we will get out our extras pack. These are about £20 in the UK. Let's have a look. see what we've got. So these are going to be resin 3D printed, and indeed they are. And these are weighted, so they've got that sort of squish effect, which we so enjoy. And you can see, yes, you can see that quite clearly. So I'll zoom in a bit more. So here's the weighted wheels, printed 3D resin, as you can see. And they have that squish down effect at the bottom, and the bulging effect. Can you see it? See that bulging. However, if I'm honest, I mean, they are the last word. Those are very beautiful, I've got to say. And I think it's got the, again with the glasses, whoops, sorry, lost you there. Just going to have a look with the glasses to see, yes, it has the same wording on it, the same engraving, Vesa, Extra Galanda, which I think is basically overland, you know, overland tyres. But I'm not sure, now I've got them in my hand, I'm not 100% convinced that they are strictly necessary, because, again, put them side by side here, have a look at that. You know, there's not much in it, really, there's not much in it. They're so good, those tyres, those rubber tyres. I think this might be a little bit of gilding the lily, because even on the shoulders, the tread detail is beautiful. So, I don't know really. I mean, you have got the squish effect, and it does look a little more realistic. You've got to make sure you position them right, of course. But they are nice, and it is always good to have the final touch, so to speak. But I'm surprised the difference is a lot less than I was expecting. Not that there is anything wrong with that 3D resin, it's brilliant. It's just that the rubber is so good. I'm struggling to remember a better rubber tyre than that in terms of its realism. I mean, they don't age well, do they, over time? That's one thing I suppose against them. And painting and weathering them, you know, can be a little bit tricky and stuff like that. So you probably find the resin will take that a little bit better. But it's not night and day, is it, in the way that I thought it would be, if I'm quite honest. So I feel, and I was recommending Mr. Stewart as well, saying, oh, you should get the resin wheels. I feel a bit of a fraud now. But first time I've seen it, obviously. But you know, it's the only way to know is to actually get them and get them yourself. But they are beautiful. They are a beautiful thing. So yes, they have got an edge, that weighting element of it. It just gives a little bit more realism, but it's not a knockout blow, only because the actual kit supplied rubber is just on another level. That's up there with some of the nicest rubber tyres I've ever seen, really, for an armoured vehicle anyway. It really is superb, absolutely sublime. I'm almost knocked out by that. That's fantastic. Okay, moving on. Right, now then, let's have a look at this the chassis. Oh, careful! I didn't realise that was going to happen. So we've got our, oh, they're just so finely moulded when you get Ryefield's mouldings in your hand. You know, they have this almost Tamiya-like quality about them. He says it doesn't seem to actually be going in as well as I thought it would. Have I got it the wrong way around? I think I have. I think it's me. Yes, it's me, folks. Ah, there we go. I said it's like Tamiya, and it kind of is. Have a look at this. So if you get them the right way around, it does help. But yeah, that's gone in beautifully. A really nice fit straight away. And look at the detail here. Isn't it nice? So you can see the fitment of it. It's got these little slots. It just drops into, and it really is a snug fit. That beautiful. You can see all your bolts along the bottom, where the suspension, on the plates where the wheels are going to be mounted, and the drive shafts are going to come out. It's really nice. It's really nice. And then you've got the interior, and again you've got some interior detail here. Can you see this hatching on the floor? It's got gripped hatching for the soldiers to get a good foot grip on. It's quite a spacious armoured car, isn't it, actually? Quite surprised by that. So you can see, and this is where your engine goes, obviously. That is really nice. Beautiful moulding, flawless, no flash, no nothing like that. Absolutely brilliant, to be honest. Yeah, I like that. That's a very, very nice moulded hull indeed. And nothing changes under the sun, does it? You've got the V moulded hull, of course, to reduce the effect of an explosion underneath. Which, of course, is like they are today. Very good protection against IEDs and that kind of thing. That kind of risk, I should say. Threat. The primary threat, I think, to these. That and a Sherman Firefly. Oops. Yeah, so it wouldn't come off too well against a Firefly one of these. It's not designed to, is it? Right, here we've got the main top of the hull then. So let's have a look at this. And this is, again, some absolutely sublime moulding, really. That is absolutely gorgeous. So, with my thumb, you got your main hatch there, all your bolts around it. You got all these little viewing hatches, which remember open or close. You can have them, and they have like a periscope viewing slit. There's your cooling cover for your engine compartment, and you've got your side armour skirts here. And they have all these little tool boxes and stowage boxes which go on them, and you can see how they've moulded in they have like a hinges along the bottom of the flat that drops down. Isn't that nicely moulded? They've done that really, really well. Fantastic. It's gorgeous, isn't it? It's not very big, is it? It's not a huge vehicle, you know. At 1/35th scale, it's kind of, I suppose it's the nature of the beast. It's a bit like when you look at the Matchbox Puma or the little Humber armoured car. They're quite small vehicles, aren't they, really? Well, that's beautiful. So far, I've seen nothing yet that would prevent a 10 out of 10 score for this, to be honest. As I say, the weighted wheels are perfect, but they're kind of not as needed, not as necessary as I thought they'd be. There's nothing wrong with them, they're spot on. But the rubber that they've come up with in the kit is so exceptionally good. I don't think people would really notice it didn't have the weight on the wheels, but it's whether you want that final level of realism, isn't it? Right, here we've got again, it's got quite a small turret, isn't it? You know, compared to a tank at this scale. It's like a sort of a Honey Stewart turret, this, isn't it? Sort of size-wise. So, yeah. And you've got the two hatches, obviously the mount back there for the gun. Not a lot of detail on this because there isn't on them anyway. They're quite smooth to deflect shots, I think is the idea. So that's the main turret. Now we get into a lot of plastic because there's a lot of parts here. This is almost, I'm a bit baffled, it's almost like what I expected the Mini Art to be like. We haven't seen that yet, obviously, but we'll get to that later. So, we've got here a sprue with things like weapons, helmets, all sorts of equipment. And this is nice, look at this. So this on it has got the MP40 machine pistol, Schmeiser as it's often referred to, slightly erroneously, but then that's another story. But look at that. The detail here is just absolutely phenomenal. Really, really nice. And then you've got your binoculars, just at the side here. Pairs of binoculars. And you've got what look like probably Lugers in holsters. It's quite interesting, isn't it? And then you've got trenching tools, and you've got drinks, canteens. You've got the gas mask, the little tubular gas mask holder, and you've got some German helmets. So those are really, really impressive. Beautiful. Those Schmeisers are lovely, aren't they? They're really nice. Yeah, very impressed with those. Very impressed with those. That's that one. Then we've got over here, we've got these are some of the parts that I think go down the side. It's basically toolboxes, etc. Decorate the side. Yep. So we've got quite a few of the toolbox parts, and also one of the covers that goes over the engine. Sorry, no, it isn't. It's a walking area within the sort of cabin of the within the cabin of the armoured car. You see it's got that, again, that hatched high grip surface, like stainless steel type material. So that's, again, they're so flawless when you look at these parts from Ryefield. They always absolutely nail the moulding. You know, there's no flaws. You don't tend to get short shots. You don't tend to get any kind of flash. It's very crisply done. Somebody was telling me the other day about the difference between tooling technologies. One uses beryllium, which is very dangerous, which is what Tamiya used to do. But it does give you the sharpest possible tooling, and I wonder if that's what these guys are doing. Because I don't imagine they worry about health and safety as much as some other companies do. But I don't want to be too harsh. Because I do like Ryefield. I've always felt that they've been one of the best Chinese kit manufacturers. Just wish they'd be a bit more diligent with their information and giving you a little bit of data in the instructions, which they're not doing still. These are all the little periscopes for the slit viewing flaps, viewing ports and pistol ports that you've got around the armoured car. Clear parts, yeah, they're fine. It's hard to judge them because they're so small. It's not overly challenging, I think, from a manufacturer's point of view, producing something like that, as against when we saw recently things like Marauders and things from ICM, where they've done some stellar work on some of those really tricky glass house and multiple curved surfaces. Right, let's have a look here. This is turning into a long review, but it's a lot of parts. It's lots of parts. There's many more. I thought this was going to be quite a straightforward one. Right, let's have a closer look at this. We have here, these are a lot of the parts of the upper sort of turret area, where you've got the turret ring, lower turret ring here, and you've got your mantlet for your gun, your shroud for your gun there. Get the camera to focus, that would be very nice, thank you. Quite a lot of small parts. There's also, and this is the normal muzzle brake for the end of the gun, and here is the gun itself here. So, to be honest, the parts that they mould so finely, so well, again, strictly speaking, some of their sort of aftermarket resin, it's not entirely necessary, I don't think, when you have a manufacturer that's producing things at such an excellently high level as they are. Done it well, haven't they? It's looking good, this. It's looking like it's going to get a 10 out of 10. I've got to be honest, I can feel it coming, unless I find something completely unexpected. I think it's unlikely, but we'll see. Because yeah, and especially the price, because it's quite competitively priced, is this. It's quite a lot of kit here for your money, I think. Tons of it. It's a marathon review. Right, so we've got the engine now. Let's try and see if we can get this all out. And in camera. Yeah, it looks like they've got like a coil pack system, isn't it, for the ignition on the engine. Interesting. I could be wrong there. Perhaps I think it's a Maybach engine, isn't it? I think we talked about this. Yeah, it just looks like a load of coil packs, that does to me. For the V12. Excuse me. And you got your sort of your bell crank housing there. Whoops. Bell crank housing. Let's go this way. Here we go. Get the A at the top. That's better. Very nicely moulded, though, isn't it? All of it. Absolutely stellar. And you got your drive belts here and your fan belt. And then you got your fans. Cooling fans at the front. Lots and lots of parts. There's the cylinders. Again, it's a fine moulding. Beautiful stuff. Got some of your cooling pipes here and things like the unions. Don't know if you can get that with the zoom. Very, very finely detailed. Yeah. Excellent. Really excellent. Yeah, I like that. Then we have got what looks like some oil drums. Well, it's fuel drums, isn't it, in fact? Because it showed a pump, didn't it? There's a pump that they attach the pump to the drum, and then they just attach a hose and pump it straight in under pressure, which sometimes they might need to do quickly. If there's a Sherman coming forward and hunted down, they might need to make a quick hot pit stop, hot pitting they call it these days, don't they? Fueling under pressure. Look at this. Kraftstoff Feuer. In a minute, I'm going to need my glasses for this. Bear with me and my bad German as well. Kraftstoff Feuergefahrlich here. That's the army. 200 litres. So this is fuel. Kraftstoff. The stuff is fuel, isn't it? Kraftstoff. And then you got your pump. Beautiful, look at this. You'll have to forgive me wearing magnifiers and everything. Stupid, but don't we all? When we put these on. Look at this, look at the pump at the top left there, next to the M. So that's the fuel pump. Isn't that nice? That's cool. It is. And then you got this, look at the writing. Fantastic. And then your drums. These are a lot nicer than the Tamiya ones that I've got to tell you. You can see they've got like a port on the side where you can actually put the pump in. How does that work then? They must have an internal pipe that they attach. And obviously it just plugs in and then they pump it out. And you've got the rings here. And then these are all parts of the pumping system I've just alluded to with the valve and the tap. Isn't that nice? That's really good. I like that. Right, that's that one. Then we've got our jerry cans. So I mean, this is what they're probably doing, decanting them out into jerry cans quite a lot. A lot of the pumping work, that's how they'll do it. This is sprue V. Some lovely jerry cans as well, with the jerry can handles. Look, isn't that nice? Super detail they are. Yeah, we like that. It's got, is that like a tap at the top? Set of taps? Yeah, I think so. Yes, those are very nice jerry cans indeed. Fantastic. I have to tell you, this is the nicest, perhaps the nicest armour kit this year. There's been some good ones from ICM, for example, but this is just... I mean, will it get 10 out of 10 when it hasn't got any description in the instructions? I think I forgot that, didn't I? You can't really give something 10 out of 10 when they haven't bothered to give you any history or data, which is a shame, isn't it? Because I think that as a kit this is a 10 out of 10, and they've just spoiled it by being lazy again, which is what I complain about all the time, especially with these Chinese manufacturers. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. They would get, they would get a clear 10 out of 10 for this kit, I'm confident, if they just put a little bit of data and a little bit of history about these vehicles. And it tells us nothing, there's no performance data about them, it doesn't tell what the engine is, we've got to guess everything. And that's damned annoying, frankly. Oof, ramped over. MG42, is that? MG34? MG34, I think. I always get them mixed up, do you know? I always have. And that one's longer than the other. Is that a 42? That's quite long, isn't it? And it's been slide moulded. I don't know if I can show you this properly. Can you see the end of the barrel? It's quite hard actually. It's got an open muzzle at the end of the barrel. And this is here, you can see they've got this cutout here. There. In the way they've... sorry. The way that they've actually moulded this. Can you see the step here in the sprue frame? That's because they've slide moulded it to get the cutout to give you the muzzle, the open muzzle, which they've done very well. So that's quite impressive actually. And then your little instrument panel here. of small parts, beautiful small parts, lots and lots of little unions. You've got tow hooks there, many little different connectors and unions. Then further down here we've got some of the parts at the rear. We've got the engine cover, and then you've got the rear bulkhead. It's better that way up, isn't it? I think the rear bulkhead there, and you've got what looks like a couple of oil tanks here, and just all these beautiful fine small parts. I mean, it's going to be quite a fiddly kit to put together, this one. I think it is. Quite fiddly. It's, yeah. Could be quite a challenge, I think. Time consuming is the word. Time consuming, more than usual, you know. But it's nice, beautifully done. So we don't want to complain about that. I can just get that in there. Otherwise it's sticking to everything. Don't know what happens. There we go. And then finally, all the running gear. So this is going to be all the torsion bars and the drive shafts. There it is. Hiding. So there's two of these, so we'll just take one of them out. So it's duplicated. And this is the part where you've got this option to have them turning. If you want the wheels to turn, if you look very carefully, you can see here. Top right, as we're looking at it, you just cut that little end piece off here, little nodule, and you cut that off at the end. And if you do that, you can then have your drive shafts turning. Aren't those nice? Universal joints, rubber boots on, and so many, again, tiny parts that are just lovely in the way that they have sort of sculpted them. Here you've got all your suspension arms, and you've got the wheels. So these are the standard plastic wheels that obviously you've got the rubber tyres go around the outside of them. And I'm just thinking how those work on the weighted wheels. I'm just going to check that because I just want to clarify in my own mind. I've forgotten already how these worked. Did they actually have the central part of the wheeling or not? They do. They're a complete unit, so you don't have to put them together like that. They're just the entire wheel and tyre. But I've got to say, the detail in these is so nice that, again, anybody watching this video, I'm not sure I would now recommend. It's not that I don't recommend, I just don't see the need for that resin wheel set other than the weighting. That's the only reason to buy it, because the standard issue is so nicely done with that amazing engraving they've done in the rubber. It's just a class act, it really is. Very impressive. Here you've got your leaf springs, look. I should have looked at those drive shafts already. We've got leaf springs here, and we've got one of the steering wheels there. It's kind of flawless, really, isn't it? The plastic is flawless. You've got a very rudimentary looking seat here. I think that's the seat back, isn't it? Can you see the engraving in it? Yeah, that's really quite something. But it's a beautiful thing. So I think that for the reasons I've already stated, inevitably we know where this is going to go. It's going to be 9.75 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 plastic sprues. They just sort of spoiled it a little bit by not making that last so easy to do little bit of effort, you know, where they just add a little bit of information. They tell you, I mean, ICM managed to do it, and they're in the middle of a war, yeah. They can tell us what engine it had and what the top speed was, and there's nothing here. There's nothing here. And this is a classic example of why I get a little bit frustrated with these guys over in China. It's not racism, it's nothing like that. Just, why can't they do it? Just add that information and stop being so lazy. Everybody else can do it. It's a mindset. They just don't want to do it. Because they need an interpreter and all this kind of thing. I mean, they could even copy it, couldn't they, from other kits of the Puma. They can easily find that data and then just print it on the instructions. It's not difficult. Come on. That's a 10 out of 10, but has lost a quarter of a point because of a silly, silly thing. And it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. How are we going to educate kids to be interested in these subjects if there's no details about what the subject is? That, for me, is a little bit annoying. So, anyway, the plastic, I give them 10 out of 10, but overall, I'm afraid it has got to be 9.75 out of 10, predictably. And only for that ridiculous reason. It's kind of frustrating because it's such a lovely kit. I wouldn't want to put you off it at all. I think that you'd really enjoy it. I think building it, I think you have a super crisp, beautiful model at the end. It's an absolute winner. It's a corker. It's a corker. I just wish they'd just sort out the presentation. I'm just wondering why one of these sprues wasn't in a bag, which it wasn't. It was loose. I think I'm going to pop that into one of these other bags. It would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it, really? I think Stuart would appreciate that. It just came completely on its own, that. It wasn't in a bag at all. I think for the safety of transport it would be better if it's in a bag. Now, I'm going to make sure I get all these little teensy parts all together. Now this is why I didn't want to do a direct side-by-side comparison straight away, because I don't want to start mixing up these two kits, which would be very easy to do. And that could cause... Stuart actually owns both the kits, by the way. So thanks to him that we've got to see this. But I don't want to start mixing them up for obvious reasons, because otherwise he's going to have a right nightmare trying to work out which part come from which kit at some point in the future. I don't think that would make me very popular somehow. So there we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plastic. Just the instructions annoyed me, but apart from that, superb kit. Very impressed. So 9.75 out of 10 from me. I'm gonna wind this up now because it's been quite a long review, and I'm going to do the other review separately with the mini art kit, and then we'll come back and revisit this one. Probably not with the weighted wheels, because I'll say they're very nice. There's nothing wrong with them. They're beautiful, perfect. But the kit's so good, it just kind of doesn't need it that much. I don't feel it does. I mean, look, when you look at the photos or the artwork, it doesn't seem to show them weighted really. Anyway, so I think on a vehicle like this, it's not the same as an aircraft. It's perhaps. I mean, I'm sure they did run around with very obvious weighting. Depends on how often they pumped up the tyres and what they pumped them up to at the end of the day. It's like anything. But there we go. It's a beautiful kit. I commend it to you. Ryefield did an absolutely brilliant job of the plastic. Knockout. Flawless. 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 You've got that front and rear steering. You can have it moving and all that stuff. Absolutely brilliant. So, 9.75 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed it and give me a 10 out of 10, which I really gave that kit 10 out of 10. Yeah, and I'll be back, I say, with the other one. So I'll put a link to the other one and I'll cross-link them so you can then do the comparison, you know. But I will come back and do a quick comparison. I won't go through it all again. Just some of the key points that I pick up on when I've completed both reviews, and the things that strike me as being interesting for you to see. In the meantime, then, stay tuned, because those are going to be quite interesting to see, I think. And until I get back to you with that, stay well, stay safe. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back to you very shortly, and in the meantime, thanks a lot, and bye for now.